Statistical anomalies in sports become stories for years to come. Like when Kyle Korver was an All-Star in 2015 in his age 33 season, averaging less points per game than Trey Murphy, Kelly Olynyk, and Emmanuel Quickley are averaging right now. Or when LeGwent Stewart, an undrafted rookie who's a defensive specialist, randomly put up 30 in an elimination playoff game. How about a backup QB suddenly turning into an elite starter and leading you to a Super Bowl, then going back to being unstartable again the very next season? Sports are at their best when they stop making any logical sense whatsoever. Those seasons that make us ask, how did that even happen? I'm saying this because we may have just seen one of the weirdest seasons in recent memory. It's not really getting talked about a lot, but it's up there with some of the greatest anomalies sports has had to offer. Diontae Johnson is a 26-year-old, fourth-year wide receiver out of Toledo for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coming off of a Pro Bowl season in 2021 where he had the third most targets in the league at 169 and the fifth most receptions at 107, Diontae was seen as one of the better receivers in the league. Maybe not on the level of guys like Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, and Justin Jefferson, which he had more targets than all of them, by the way, but he was undoubtedly a great receiving option. Going into 2022 with the departures of Juju Smith-Schuster and James Washington, Diontae was shaping up to have another wide receiver 1 level season. The Steelers did draft George Pickens out of Georgia in the second round, but for now, Diontae's still the guy in Pittsburgh. So let's take a look at his stats. Johnson had 147 targets in 2022, definitely a step down from his 167 last season, but still one of the highest marks in the league. He sits at tied for 7th in targets with rookie Garrett Wilson, and everyone above them are Pro Bowlers. His 86 receptions sit 16th, tied with TJ Hawkinson, which is a pretty significant drop from last year. He's 29th in reception yards with 882, which is honestly quite low for the absurd target volume he has. This is at least somewhat explainable by the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh, as veteran Mitch Trubisky was horrible and rookie Kenny Pickett was starting very early into the year with mixed results. Big plays inflate yardage, so his lack of those are a contributor to his underwhelming yard total. And touchdowns? Let me see here. Let me check my notes. Well, he has 0. Yeah, almost 900 yards from scrimmage, almost 150 targets across 17 games, and Diontae Johnson didn't catch a single touchdown all season. How does that even happen? A receiving threat with a top 30 production not even scoring once? There's a few contributing factors we can look at. One of them is the quarterback play. As previously stated, neither Trubisky nor Pickett were what you'd consider a good starting QB at any metric. The Steelers only accounted for 12 passing touchdowns, one of them being from Chase Claypool, who's not even on the team anymore. Though even with a small amount of passing touchdowns, you'd expect at least one to go to their best receiver. Let's look at the Panthers, another weak passing team with QB turmoil all season. Hell, they even cut their presumed starter halfway through the year. Their QB room accounted for 16 touchdowns, and their top wide receiver? DJ Moore with 7 touchdowns on much less receptions and targets. Or how about the Colts, who had a carousel at the QB position? 17 touchdowns where their top receiver, Michael Pittman Jr., had 4. You'd think the Steelers would be getting the ball to their best options when trying to score, but that leads us to offensive play calling is very important for a strong red zone offense. If you can prioritize your best options while also being discreet about it, you turn your field goals into touchdowns, and those extra points usually turn into wins. I don't know how to say it lightly, but Matt Canada is pretty bad. He regularly recycles plays in the same game and is overall very predictable. You could maybe give him the benefit of the doubt for doing it when Pickett was playing, but the play call really didn't change when Trubisky was starting either. It's a wonder how he's keeping his job. Guess it's because the Steelers never fire coordinators until they, quote-unquote, step down. Regardless, the past 2 seasons of Pittsburgh offenses have been very uninspiring. Though great talents can regularly thrive in bad systems. Look at someone like Jerry Jeudy this season. Despite Nathaniel Hackett being an awful coach and some missed games due to injury, he still thrived with a QB significantly underperforming. The only reason he'd be unable to overcome a bad system is if he never got the red zone targets. So let's talk about the red zone targets. How often was Diontae Johnson getting looks within the 20? Well, safe to say, a lot. He had 18 targets within the 20 and 7 receptions, which is not a great ratio by any means, but still solid. His target share in the red zone was 32.1% per 404.com, which is the third highest mark in the league, only behind DK Metcalf and Drake London. Keep in mind, a 32% target share basically means every red zone drive, Diontae Johnson got a look. Despite that, he never found the end zone for a touchdown. He scored a couple of 2-point conversions, but never a touchdown. So how did all of these 18 plays go horribly wrong? Well, let's just say I dug up every play that I thought was relevant to this discussion, just to exemplify how weird this season was. Let's start with week 1, at Cincinnati. There's this play in the fourth quarter on 3rd and 10 that could have been a touchdown, but Trubisky overthrew Diontae. They had to settle for a field goal after. Week 2, hosting the Patriots. Another game with no red zone action, mostly due to the Steelers only having 2 trips down there. He did catch a 2-point conversion though. Week 3, in Cleveland on Thursday Night Football. Deep ball late in the third, he definitely could have had this one and only had 1 tackle to break for the score. Then there's a shot late in the fourth that could have went all the way, if not for Diontae not lining up in time and the defensive pass interference on Denzel Ward. Week 4, at home versus the Jets. This one's heartbreaking now that we have hindsight. Diontae's ruled out of bounds on a deep ball in the end zone, and it's super close. I think the referee made the right call here, but it's one of those plays that would have sided with the field ruling. So if the ref called it a touchdown on the spot, then this video wouldn't exist. Week 5, in Buffalo. Red zone target in the first quarter. This one was definitely a touchdown if Pickett hits him square. Another unfortunate play to watch knowing the rest of his season. Another red zone target in the second. This one could also be a touchdown if Pickett hits him in a better spot. This is crazy, like not even joking. He should have had at least 3 touchdowns right now, and we're only in week 5. Fourth down in the third goes to him in the red zone, but it gets knocked out of his hands. Didn't really have any chance of scoring, but it's still important to note. Deep ball midway through the fourth is overthrown, but it also didn't have a good chance of being a touchdown. Week 6, hosting Tampa Bay. Running play in the red zone that goes for 3. This reception deep in Bucs territory is way overthrown, but a great play by Diontae regardless. Red zone post route in the third, but this has no shot going the distance. Week 7, at Miami. The only things of note are the 2 interceptions where he was targeted. First one doesn't really matter, but for the second one, he's open. Pickett instead decided to gift an interception to Noah Igbenogany. Really? Out of all corners, you had to pick him? Week 8 against Philly. Direct snap to Najee. Jet sweep with 6 yards to go. He really could have gotten in, but it's not the end of the world. He gets targeted on the next play. Unfortunately, he slips. I don't think it would have mattered because Bradbury had good coverage here. There's another red zone reception in the third, but he had nowhere to go after the catch. Why can't Kenny Pickett hit him square? I know he's short, but come on. Week 10, hosting New Orleans. Red zone reception, but there's 4 guys around him when he catches it. It's a deep ball in the third that sets him up for a field goal, but also no real chance to score here. Week 11, Bengals again. He got a red zone target in this game, but yeah, yikes. Week 12, at Indianapolis. Red zone reception in the second. Nothing to say here, it's just a good play. Not something that would result in a TD, but still productive. This play in the fourth gets them into the red zone. But Jesus Christ, Diontae, stop running backwards, please. He follows that up with a contested but catchable TD broken up. That's now the 4th touchdown that could have went his way realistically. Week 13, at Atlanta. End zone look in the third, but it's broken up nicely by AJ Terrell. Also, this game was very ugly and makes children cry. Week 14, hosting Baltimore. This deep ball for Diontae is overthrown by the length of one Diontae Johnson. Good job, Mitch. You're good at football. Another deep ball in the fourth, definitely a TD play if Mitch places the ball better. And finally, a red zone target within 2 minutes with offsetting pass interference penalties. Also an overthrow by a lot. Week 15, at Carolina. There's this drive in the third where he gets the ball every single play, it feels like. Run for 2 yards, pass where he breaks 3,600 tackles and then gets a taunting penalty. Another reception, but it didn't go much of anywhere. Week 16 versus the Raiders has nothing relevant to this video. It does, however, make me sad thinking about it. Week 17 at Baltimore. There's 1 red zone target, it's well covered though. Oh well. Finally, week 18 versus Cleveland. This play gets them down to the 2, genuinely heartbreaking. I don't know if any other route would have gotten him into the end zone, but this drive ends in a Najee Harris fumble. Well thrown ball in the second quarter, but it's too far out of bounds for a touchdown. Another painful one here in the third. He's so open on this slant, but it gets hit at the line when Pickett throws it to him. And then another ball gets tipped at the line that would have went for 6. They were clearly forcing it to him this game, but it's so tragic that this happened multiple times to him. Clean touchdowns without the defensive line interfering, you just hate to see it. At least he got a consolation 2-point conversion. Just for fun, here's some of the players that had more receiving touchdowns on the year than Diontae Johnson for reference. Running back James Robinson had 2 touchdowns on 11 receptions for 51 yards. He was not the pass-catching running back in Jacksonville or on the Jets, and was inactive for multiple games at the end of the year. Chargers fullback Xander Horvath, 5 receptions for 8 yards. He has 2 touchdowns off those numbers. Broncos running back Tyler Beatty, his first reception of his career in a meaningless Week 18 game, he went 24 yards for the touchdown. Look at that footwork, that's a really nice play. Denver also had Jalen Virgil, who caught his first touchdown on his first career reception. Chiefs third-string tight end Blake Bell, 2 receptions, 20 yards, 1 touchdown. Bills wide receiver John Brown, who had a 41-yard touchdown in Week 18. I thought he retired, honestly. I guess he was active for weeks 13 and 14, but he only had 2 targets on the season. 49ers running back Tevin Coleman, who I also thought retired. He was only on the field for 32 snaps from week 4 to 6 this season. Kyle Rudolph on the Bucks. Wait, he also didn't retire? I feel old. Jets quarterback Zach Wilson. Yeah, he got a touchdown too. And finally, Patriots cornerback Marcus Jones. Yes, cornerback. He's not even an offensive player, but I guess he's just that guy. Diontae Johnson had so many opportunities to get a touchdown this season that just never went his way. Watching the footage, it seems even less logical now that this season happened. Sports have a knack of just being really weird. He'll still be an impact player for the Steelers next year. This changes nothing in terms of his career and the future he has in the league. Statistical anomalies are just that, an anomaly. They regularly do not make any sense whatsoever, and that's the beauty of it. If we could predict every part of sports or even life in general, wouldn't it get a little boring? These oddities give us stories for years to come, and that truly is timeless. I doubt Diontae will even take this to heart because he really shouldn't. But down the line, he'll probably look back at this season and ask the question I opened the video with. How did that even happen? Thank you all for watching and subscribe for more.